Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Buccateers podcast. I'm your host, Tampa Tones. We're welcomed in by Cody at the moment. Then we're going to get more crew throughout the show. We got Bucko whipping up in the kitchen right now. He'll be bopping in shortly. We got Katz. He's probably going to float in. Then Stun is going to join us around the halfway mark as well. And a program and update quick. Next Tuesday, or I should say this upcoming Tuesday, actually, Tuesday night, we'll have our Bucs Eagles playoff wildcard weekend recap with JC Allen from Pewter Report. That'll be live at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. So we're looking forward to JC coming back on the show. JC Allen, one of the best in the business, once again with Pewter Report. Friend of the show, has been on a couple times, and he's got nothing but great takes. So we're looking forward to sitting down with JC in a couple days, hopefully recapping a victory against the Eagles, but nonetheless, we're back in the playoffs. It feels like we were just here last year. And ironically enough, we played someone from the same division last year as well. Last year was Washington football team. So, and we were on the road this year. We got lucky enough to poach the 2 seed. It was dramatic finishes all around the NFL, and it was one of the craziest weekends of all time. But this year kind of reminded me of last year, where we didn't get the 1 seed, but we ended up getting the seed that was beneficial for us last year. That 5 seed was very beneficial. Playing Washington football team, you never take any game for granted. This year it was beneficial because we jumped to the 2 seed, especially we're missing some weapons. So those 2 potential home field games, and then if Packers get upset, turns into 3, that could be crucial. Kind of opposite mission last year. We're trying to play at home, and then as time goes on, we'll go on the road. Last year was road home. So we'll see what's going on anyways in the Bay. But nonetheless, Buccateers podcast, we're live on our YouTube. We're live on Bucs Life Media, Facebook as well, and my Facebook. So you can find us a number of places. We'll answer questions from Twitter tonight as well. We're going to talk a little John Brown. We got some injury talk as well. We're going to talk X's and O's with Cody, and then Bucko if he joins as well. And then score predictions, player of the game, and one big thing or walk off. And we plan on heading out of here around the top of the hour. Whew, without further ado, Cody, my friend, how the hell we feeling for playoff week? How are you? Familiar opponent, but playoffs is always a little bit of unfamiliar territory each and every year.
Yeah, I'm excited, and we got lucky with the first. Not to take anything from Philly, but it's a game we should win. Obviously, I'd rather play Philly over Arizona or somebody like that. So, yeah, I'm pumped. Can't wait.
Yeah, it should be good too because the way, although we should have Levante David coming back sooner than later, but the way the Eagles have been running the ball and the way the Bucs have been playing the run the past couple of weeks, that could be something to keep an eye on, especially with weather. You think the rain would play a factor at all if it is indeed going to rain? I've seen some signs of rain for 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah, I hate the forecast. I know Bucko and I talked about it in the group chat. He wasn't worried about it, but I mean, we're past first team. Any quarterback, any wide receiver will tell you in the rain, it's harder to throw and catch the football. They want to run the football. They don't want to throw the football. So, I'm not saying it's going to be the difference in the game or anything, but I think that makes what we want to do harder and what they want to do easier, So, and as far as the run, to me, that they're the number one rush defense. I don't want to say we're overrated on run defense, but we're not as good as we were like last year, the year before that. The last couple of weeks, we have been getting torn up outside of the tackles, but I think part of that's missing, Shaq, JPP, and Levante David. So that should definitely help with that. But that's my only concern with them. If we can get up and make him beat us with his arm, especially if the weather's bad, he's not going to beat us with his arm. So hopefully we can just get out to a 2-score lead, something like that, and I think we should be fine.
And I agree with you there for sure. I am, I'm not going to say the weather is not going to be a factor because that pretty much, you never know when the weather's a factor. You could assume it won't be, and then next thing you know, you go to hand the ball off and it slips away, or you go and try play action. And even when you have Tom Brady, we've seen weird throws happen with Brady, even if it's not for the rain. So, nothing against our guys. I have the utmost faith in him as well, but I'd feel a lot more. I'm going to feel confident either way, but my confidence would highly rise if it wasn't raining that day because we could outthrow the heck out of the Eagles in that one, and they're a run first team, as we keep mentioning. So the rain probably wouldn't affect them as much. But I will say, last time we squared off against these guys in the playoffs, we know what happened. We shut down the jersey behind you. Mr. Rondé Barber had a big part of that. So we're hoping the jersey next to him behind you might have a big part in this one. What say you on Mike Evans' odds of having a big game come Sunday?
I would imagine he's going to get most of the attention, has Slay on him. So not to say he's not going to have a big game, but I'm expecting Gronk to have a big game. But going back to the rain talk, the game that stood out to me was the Patriots. Patriots are a much better defense than Philly. I don't want to compare the defense, but if you go back and watch that game, there was a lot of bad throws from Tom and a lot of drops. And that's just how it is in the rain. So, again, not saying we can't get it done. Maybe it won't be, raining too bad or whatever. But so yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to be more of a Gronk and a Lenny type game, to be honest with you.
And Marcos weighs in. He says, wasn't Levante David out the first time we played the Eagles? You are correct, Marcos, because Cody and I were at the game along with Laura Emad. Hello, Laura. Anyways, we were at the game. We were watching the game, and Levante went down. That game against Miami was cool, fun, because we beat up on him. But I think we, suffered a Levante injury, and I think maybe another one if I can't remember off the top of my head. But and Levante ended up missing Thursday's game. Obviously, Antonio Brown, well, God bless, but he missed Thursday's game too because he ended up getting banged up at the end of that one. So as fun as that Miami's game was, we did go into Philly Thursday night without Levante. So you are right. Thursday we were without Levante, but I think Lenny F could have a big game if he comes back. The thing is, Lenny F's coming back from injury. Levante's coming back from injury. So we're not quite sure how impactful these guys could be yet. Cody, what say you on Levante David? We know he missed the first time around. We know he should be, or people are hoping he should be back this game. But even if he plays, he's missed a couple weeks now. He's a little banged up. Do you think we're going to get the 100% Levante David?
I don't, and I'm from everything I'm hearing, it sounds like Bruce has said he's going to be like I'm not even sure he plays, to be honest with you. Bruce said last I heard that he's going to come right down to the wire. He said he feels good about Gio, basically everybody but Levante. So, and again, we beat him once without him before. And as far as the off tackle rushes, having JPP and Shaq setting the edge, no disrespect to the other guys playing, but those two are starters for a reason. They're great pass rushers and also great against the run. And running up the middle versus us with Golston, Sue, Vea, that's not easy. So I don't think we have to have Levante this game, but you certainly want to. He'll definitely make things much easier.
Yeah, I agree there. And Levante is essential to the run defense. Like you said, getting JPP back should help too. He wasn't himself when he was playing this year. The man is a warrior. He's playing through a crap load of injuries, but nonetheless, getting a guy like him back, Shaq back, Levante back, that should shore it up. But even if we don't get Levante back, if we just get Shaq and JPP back, like you said, we have the weapons up the middle with Golston, Sue, Vea. So hopefully those three do their job. Shaq and JPP could benefit the gaps enough. Nothing against JTS, but you could tell a lot of potential, but he's flailing a little bit on some run plays that come his way. I think JPP and Shaq do a little bit better job of shoring up the outsides on that run. And they'll have Jalen Hurts. That'll be interesting. Who do you think handles Jalen Hurts duties if Levante David is out? Do you think we throw Minter kind of as a Jalen Hurts guy, or you think that's Devin White's job?
If Levante's out, I hope we play more three safeties. Bring either Edwards or Whitehead down in the box. I would rather one of them spy him. Minter, no offense to Minter, but he hasn't been good. Like the last couple games, I think it's just age has just caught up with him. That maybe it's just a bad couple games. I don't know, but I would at least like to play with some three safety looks. I think that's how you get your best players on the field. Edwards is too good to have on the bench, especially over Minter. Again, no disrespect to Minter, but Edwards is a playmaker. Every time he's out there, he makes plays. So I would much rather see that personally.
Yeah, I heard a stat, or I heard a quote from the coach the other day. It was like, if a ball's in the air, they know Edwards is going to get it. If a ball's on the ground, they know that Winfield's going to end up with it, so they said they're good either way. And I agree, Edwards. I'd love to see him play more. We've seen him make a sick play in the backfield against the Falcons at home this year when he did bat the ball in the air, get the interception, get a pick six. He's a guy who knacks a big play, and it seems to be beneficial when Edwards is on the field. And I think we do have one of the best safety rooms, if not the best safety room in the league. I mean, we have Whitehead, we have Winfield, and we have Edwards. And then Adams, we've seen him make plays time to time. He loves playing Carolina, it seems.
Yeah.
Adams is an INT magnet against the Panthers, especially. Got one last week, had a 3 interception game against him before Marco sways back in. We do appreciate you hanging out with us tonight as well, Marcos. I agree about the safeties because Minter has looked off and definitely much slower. The thing with Minter is he's one of those guys where you say, Kevin Minter, he's a great backup, right? Well, at the end of the day, what is a great backup? Because then he comes in to start, and then you get a little bit worried. So he's one of those guys who, he could come in a ball game. He could start because he started before. He started for BA before. But when we've seen him start here, this defense has gotten a little bit worse. And we've seen that against the Washington football team last year. First round, Taylor Heineke came out of the woodworks. It's no coincidence where he ran pretty well. He threw pretty well. Minter had to start that game because of COVID. And now you look all these years later, there were points and times where Minter looked slow and sluggish. So to me, it would benefit if we had Edwards primarily, or even Adams here and there in as a third safety, playing a little ball hawk D or up in the box D if you want to try and shut down Hurts or limit Hurts. And Michael joins us now in the conversation. Thank you as well, Michael, for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. Cody, what say you? He says we need JPP, Shaq, and LD to stop the outside run. That's how the Jets ran on us. That's what we just said, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The big runs versus have been off tackle. Shaq and JPP. JPP he's hurt. He no disrespect to him. He's one of the greatest ever. He's been hurt this year, but if there's one thing he can still do, he can set the edge. Long arms. He might not be getting the sacks like he used to, but he can definitely set the edge. And then Shaq, he's just an all-around great player. He's known for his sacks, but he's just as good in run defense. So those two are huge. And then, Levante to clean up behind him, it's just, it's huge. But having those two back without Levante, to me, can still work. So, if it was all of them out, I would be much more worried.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, at the very least, we know Levante might not be back, but we know the other guys will be back. So like you said, if they were all uncertain, if we were wishy-washy on the status of the three, then it may cause room for panic. But now, with at least a couple of them coming back, it does make you feel better. It does give you some sense of security. So we do have another question coming in from Twitter, it looks like. Let me pull it up here if possible. Trying to locate it. It's from Pops from Twitter. I'm going to copy and paste it in the chat. A little too long for YouTube chat, but it does flow over. So I'll read it off my phone since it's the entirety of the thing, but I'll post it here. We all realize our defense played lights out in the playoffs last year and lead us to Super Bowl victory. Do we feel that we are up for the challenge again this year based on where we are right now coming into the playoffs? The thing with this Bucs team is, and I'll let Cody weigh in here next, but I feel like with all these leaders we have around, we're always up for the challenge. Whether how many guys are down, whether if we're on the road, the weather conditions. But with Tom Brady and Gronk on offense specifically, then you even throw in Mike Evans, Ryan Jensen, guys like that. And then on the defensive side of ball, you have Jason Pierre-Paul and Ndamukong Suh. You got big guys like that, Levante David, even Devin White. They say he's a pretty good leader out there. So there's guys all over the place that you have up for the task, up for the challenge, to be a leader, to step up and to make plays. And when you look at the defense, you do have your star power. You do have your veteran leaders. Last year, the young guys stepped up. You had SMB get an interception every playoff game pretty much. You had Winfield make the big peanut punch against the Saints. That's a lasting image in a lot of fans' heads. You had Vita Vea come back on one leg in the playoffs last year and really help out that defense as well. As we have Bourbon Bucko joining us, we'll ask him on his thoughts here in a little bit. We'll let him settle in. But Cody, what say you? I think our defense or our team, anytime, anywhere, can live up to the challenge, rise to the top, and come up clutch. What say you on the state of our defense heading into the playoffs? Do you think we can have a repeat defensive performance that we've seen us get propelled to the Super Bowl with last season?
Well, I think we're going to have to. We scored 30 plus last game, but that was with Godwin and, AB. So, and AB didn't play every game, but we were a lot more healthy. So I think it's asking a lot of our offense to score 30 plus a game. So I think our defense is going to absolutely have to step up to win a Super Bowl. Do I think we can? Yeah, I do. Like you said last year, SMB, and I hope everyone knows I'm not like trying to, I love all our Bucs players. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but SMB and Devin White were shaky at best last year during the regular season. Devin White, not so much. He had a lot of splash type plays, but there was a lot of bad too. And then this year it's been much of the same, but they both stepped up in the playoffs last year. So, hopefully they do again. Hopefully somebody else does. This game's big. I expect a big playoffs from Shaq this year. And, guys like Levante, the leaders, I think they know, you don't get many opportunities like this to have a team like this with Tom Brady, be at home in the playoffs. So, I do think they can step up, and I think they will.
And I think you hit the nail on the head when you got guys looking around thinking this ain't going to last forever. I mean, think about it like this. JPP could retire just like that. We probably won't even have him back next year. Sue could retire. Gronk could easily not come back. Brady, I know he's under contract, but he's at the age where, Giselle says, hey, it's time for you. We have a lot of great players, a lot of star power. But these guys are snap away from retiring. We just named 4 of our best players, JPP, Sue, Gronk, and Brady, who could all be retired, within 12 to 24 calendar months. It's kind of wild, just how that works. And before we bring in Bourbon Bucko and A-Cats, as Cats is joining us as well, we got a couple people watching on Facebook who we want to give special shout-outs to. The Leprechaun, Pat Hederman, we appreciate you tapping in and joining us. Kind of you. We appreciate your viewership tonight. And then Jesus Montavo, my man from work, my co-worker, giving us a bunch of love on Facebook, giving a lot of thumbs up. So we appreciate the love, Leprechaun, Jesus. We do appreciate it. Mr. Bourbon Bucko, first off, how'd your things go? Did you get the food settled, the children settled, everything good to roll?
They're all in the baths right now. I got the wife handling that. You know how it goes, man. Just ripping and running during the week. I always love to take some time out with you fellas. But, yeah, man, fun shit. Let's go.
Hey, we appreciate you joining us. We really do appreciate it because everyone's so pinched on dang time. And, especially with all those children. So we appreciate it, Bucko. Mr. Katz, I know the Lightning are on. I know that's always, a little bit of a coin flip if we'll get you on Lightning nights. We appreciate you being able to join us.
Oh, well, I'm multitasking, so that's why you can't see me, because if I have my camera on, I can't watch the game while I'm talking to y'all. So I'm doing a little bit of both.
Hey, well, you got to keep us posted. You got to let us know the score.
It's 1-0 Bolt. Stammer scored a power play goal, so it's 1-0.
And I knew I should have put money on Stammer to score tonight. I put a little bread on Hedman because his odds were a little more, they paid the pocket a little more. But I have the Bolts.
Well, defensemen don't score as much, certainly. So I've still got some game to go. So it's been a little while since he last scored one. So hey, you might have a chance there.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Let's just say those Buccateers tees could get made a little faster this time around. If that, not a life changing bet, but nonetheless, we have a guy who came, just like you two came in a little late to the episode. No big deal. We have a guy who came a little late to the Bucs, John Brown. John Brown is joining us. Will he make an impact? We don't know, but what I do know is we are his 4th landing spot this season. What I do know, he's played with Bruce Arians before, and what I do know, Smoke Brown has been a pretty productive deep threat, when he's had effective quarterback play. So there's a couple different ways how I feel about this. How me and my pops are talking where we think it's a good signing just based on, the injuries, the COVID, everything that could happen. At least you have a veteran who you could throw in the game. He's kind of like a Brashad Perriman. You're not going to feel completely dead with the guy if you throw him in the game. Nothing against John Hurst, practice squad wide receiver, but you see the kind of difference there. Bucko, we'll start with you here. Smoke Brown. Thoughts on that? Anything to think of it, or kind of just one of those things? Yeah.
Man, I mean, you can always use speed. You can always use veteran presence in the wide receiver group, given what we've had to go through this year. But my only hope with John Brown is that they give him number 81. That's the only thing that I want to see. I want him to run around with number 81.
I was just going to say next, not Corey Hayes, but our buddy Cody Haynes actually tweeted he will be wearing number 89. And he said the same thing. He's like, to end any Antonio Brown, John Brown number share and speculation, he'll be wearing number 89.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate.
I thought that would have been fun if he wore 81.
That would have been great. I mean, it would have been the ultimate troll job by Jason Light and Bruce. And I wanted it. You know what I mean? But I guess some of us got to be professionals. Good thing I don't run the team, because I'd be petty.
Should have gave him some good incentives too. Cody, what say you on bringing in John Brown and him not wearing 81?
Well, I'm with Buck. I wish he wore 81, but as far as bringing him in, I mean, who else are you going to find this time of year? Like, hopefully we don't need him, but, it's a veteran deep threat. He's familiar with Bruce, so he might know some of the terminology offense. And if he has got anything left, he did run like a 4.32 or a 4.34. Granted, that was a while ago. But if he has anything left, Brady can get it out of him. I'm confident of that. He's a veteran, can pick up the playbook pretty quick. Hopefully we don't need him, but if you do, I'd rather him over someone off the practice squad. So, I don't know, good signing.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what me and my pop said as well. One of those things where he can come up. Who else are you going to sign this time of year? So couldn't agree more. Cats, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, it's fine signing him. It's, and I know he is familiar with Arians' offense. The problem, I guess, is, so late now in the year, well, in the playoffs already, how quick can you integrate him? But if needed, I think it's good to go out and get a guy for depth purposes if you do need him. But I just don't anticipate him dressing this week, or if he does, having much of an impact. If he does dress, I hope I'm wrong, though.
Yeah, I agree. He might just stay on. He might not even be elevated this week. But if he, like you said, if he does dress, hopefully he does perform or produce. And I was listening to WDAE all week, and I think I agree with them when they kept saying that we need a lot of these guys to step up, and it's not about quantity, it's about quality. We don't need 8 catches for 32 yards from a guy like Scotty Miller. We need 2 plays in the game where you think, okay, Scotty Miller did this in this game, that made a difference, whether it's a score and play, a 50-yard catch, something big time where these guys step up instead of, them just getting a bunch of dink-donk here and there, 1 yard, 2 yard, where it doesn't really matter. But we did have a question from Facebook before we keep stumbling as well. You might get some bias here on this question. You might not, but our buddy Jesus Montavo goes Super Bowl predictions. Does anyone even have him yet, or is it too early? Cats, will start with you. If you have one, what is your Super Bowl prediction? Also, shout out to Dylan Satch and Kevin Hogan for tuning in as well. We do appreciate it. But Cats, any Super Bowl prediction to this point?
I'm gonna defer on that for now. Nothing right now. Too soon.
Yeah, I don't blame you, Bucko.
I mean, it's way too early. But if you put a gun to my head and you tell me to pick Super Bowl right now, I'm going to go Bucs Titans.
Yeah, I like that one. And, running backs are coming back, right? Lenny F., Derrick Henry, big part of the playoffs. Both of those guys probably. Hard to argue that one. Tennessee, top seed. Bucs, the 2 seed, but tied for the top seed. So I like that one. Cody, what say you? Super Bowl prediction, or are you going to kick?
Bucks for sure, and then I would go Chiefs or Titans. I said Bills at the start of the year, but I'm not sure the Bills are going to get past. I think they play Saturday. I'm not sure that game's supposed to be like 0 degrees, 30-mile-an-hour wind. We saw what happened last time. It was those conditions. They're playing the Patriots. Patriots are built for that much better than the Bills are. So Yeah, I don't know. The Bills have looked off this year. The Chiefs, they looked terrible at the start of the year. I know they lost like a game or two here recently, but they had a good stretch there, and they are playing good defense. They're winning on defense. So, and that team that, they're battle tested. They lost the Super Bowl, but they also won. They made it twice. They won a ton of playoff games. So, yeah, I could see the Chiefs or Titans sneaking in.
Here, I have a different take. I have a different thought. I have a different opinion. And I do think realistic, if I'm a betting man, Chiefs or Titans are definitely the top two teams. Although before the season started, I had Buffalo, Tampa for the second year in a row. That was my prediction. Now, if I was a betting man, I would throw money on Kansas City or Tennessee along with Tampa. Although I guess you can make an outside argument for a couple other teams. But I'm going to have fun here. I'm going to go Super Bowl rematch. Why not Raiders Bucks? And I know Raiders have quite the uphill battle to climb. Their roster's not that great. But the stories that Raiders fought this year, John Madden passing away, all that off the field bull crap they dealt through, just all these demons that they've had to climb. And then their chances of making the playoffs were literally at less than 3% 2 weeks before the season ended. And then they had to win that. So not saying the Raiders are going to make it there by any means. I'm just saying that's what I hope to see. That's what I'd like to see. And I like Rick Bisaccia, right? Bisaccia, special teams coordinator who spent his time here in the Bay, finally has his chance. And now he's coaching this team. And you get the idiots out there who keep saying, oh, Raiders head coach open and it's an appealing one. Well, they're still in the playoffs. Bisaccia could easily win a game. And what are you going to do? Are you really going to let him walk if he brings him to the playoffs and if he wins a playoff game? And I know they got Cincy. I know it's going to be a tough, tall task round one, but I love seeing Raiders Bucks. But obviously, uphill battle to climb for that. So. We'll get now to the injury wire and IR wire and some other news going around those fronts. Richard Sherman heading to the IR. This is his second stint on the IR, which does mean that'll end his season. And we've seen him coaching today at practice, and we've also seen him coaching it up at other points in time this year. So, Cody, we'll start with you here. First off, big deal that Sherman is out for the playoffs. And second off, you think we see him coaching not only throughout this year, but here again in Tampa in the near future?
I don't think it's a big deal. He's out throughout the play. I mean, he came in and tried. I respect it. It was a great, it was a great idea to try it. His body has literally just given up on him. It is what it is. It comes different times for different people, but that signing was still worth it. Bruce talked about it the other day. He has had an amazing effect on the younger guys. We still got a young secondary, like not even just the corners. The entire secondary is relatively young. So you bring an established, well-respected veteran who's also one of the better corners ever into the room. It's and for like $1 million, 1.2 million, like that's money well spent. He can still help. So him being on the sideline, Super Bowl experience, playoff experience, he's been seen everything. Great signing. No, I don't think it'll affect us on the field, but great signing. As far as in the future, I guess that just depends on him. Does he want to coach or does he want to do something else? I wouldn't rule it out.
And I'm just like you, Cody. I'm a firm believer, and I hate, and it's funny, right? Because I was kind of like, should we bring in Sherman at first, and then the injuries pile up. I wanted him here. And now you got all these idiots on Twitter and all these clowns on Facebook saying, oh, Sherman took our money and ran, oh, blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't. Do you guys literally know what we expected of him? We signed him. He practiced for, 2 practice sessions. He played a couple days later. Pretty much 100% of the snaps he was playing. You know how hard that is to go off of football that long, coming off of injury, barely practicing, barely stretching out. And I know you keep warm at home, but that ain't the dang same. Then the next week, he played almost 100% of snaps again. And then he got injured a couple plays into the following game on Thursday Night Football. But then you fast forward, he had a key turnover against Buffalo, interception. And now he's coaching. And like you said, throughout the season, his veteranship has been there with their young guys, and we've seen it. To me, we've seen it before our eyes with Dean and SMB at times. Some of the moves they're trying to pull off, some of the things they do in the secondary reminds me of Sherm Dog. So, yeah, I think it's more than worth it. And I do hope he coaches with Tampa. We've seen it before. We've seen AQ Shipley go from player to coach. We know Thad Lewis is here, Antoine Randall, and Byron Leftwich too. So I think it's very possible. Cats, what say you? Big deal or no deal for Sherm heading to IR? I don't think it's a huge deal losing him, but I still think it was worth bringing him in. And then, do you think we see him coaching here in the Bay one day?
Yeah, not a big deal that he's going on IR. I mean, I wish him well, of course. I didn't expect him to be playing anyway in the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I think it was a good signing. I know he didn't play a lot of games for us, but his leadership is invaluable in the locker room, especially when you have a secondary as young as ours. And I think he has had a positive impact on them. So, yes. And now, as far as his future, I could see, given how he's taken the initiative as basically a coach, it makes me think he would be interested in coaching in the future. And if he does, I hope it's here.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I'd lead to believe that a large part of him being brought here, that was the thought. Same with AQ Shipley. Same with guys that Bruce has done that for in the past, with Randall L., so on and so forth. Guys that want that next step into coaching, Bruce has always been known as the guy to give guys opportunities. So I wouldn't be far-fetched to believe that was part of the understanding in bringing them here.
And we could see guys like Randall L. and Larry Foote and Shipley and maybe even Sherm eventually grow into the Leftwiches of the world and get coordinator gigs. But Bruce is very good at getting players into the coaching world if they want to be, and he's very good at elevating their coaching skills. And then, from IR to return, you got JPP coming back, Shaq coming back, potentially Levante coming back. And then you got Lunny F coming back, Gio Bernard coming back. I mean, fellas, the boys are coming back. We got Pinion back a short time ago. So we're starting to get decently healthy at the right time. Bucko, we'll start with you here. Biggest guy coming back for the Bucs. You think it's Lunny F in the ground game? You think it's Shaq or JPP on the outsides? Or you think it's potentially Levante up the middle?
Well, as I stated last week, Levante is the most important key to the defense. He makes it go. It really covers up a lot of errors that we're missing there as far as the youth in the secondary and the lack of depth at linebacker. I think Levante is very important there. But Lenny F on the other end is just as important, especially with Rojo still being banged up, whether it be, he's butt hurt more so than actually being hurt. We don't know the ins and outs with that, but, pitting out the palace, right? Bum. So anyway, Lenny F is very important. Levante David equally is important. I think both of those are key factors in this football game.
Yeah, and real quick, what a week for the clown squad. You had AB hanging in a room with look like you lose brain cells walking in that room. You got Kanye West in there. You got whoever the hell else is in there. Floyd Mayweather was in there. Then you got Kodak Black, AB's buddy, in the Panthers game, banging it around and doing his thing. So just clowns doing clown things, and true people show their true colors when things get tough. And perhaps Rojo shouting out an AB song is the last time he surfaces in Tampa. We'll see if he could play on the field and help us just as he did last year. We haven't seen it much this year. Cats, what say you? We'll throw Levante out here because, that seems to be the easy choice. But out of Shaq, JPP, Gio Bernard, or Lunny F, who you got as a big dog, and who's your most important player returning for the playoffs?
Yeah, out of the rest of them, I'm going to go with Lenny as well. He's a big part of our offense, not just in the running game, in the passing game as well. And that's something you miss when he's not in there, is that ability to check the ball down or even run routes with your running back. None of the other guys that we've been playing, no disrespect, Keyshawn Vaughn and Le'Veon Bell have gotten some time in, but Lenny's a big part of our offense. So, yeah, other than Levante, I would rank him at the top.
Cody, what say you? You think Lunny F as well? We'll rule out Levante since he's the main dog, and I guess he's not guaranteed to come back, so it's not fair to have him in this vote anyways. So Are you going to go with Lenny, Gio, Shaq, or JPP?
Yeah, I'd go Lenny for the same reasons, but Shaq's big too. Set the edge, get some pressure on Hurts, assuming he tries to throw this week, and definitely next week. It's going to be whoever we play after this week is going to be a real quarterback. So yes, they're all big, but since can't go Levante, we all agree on Lenny. I would say Shaq's definitely next and close behind.
Yeah, and the importance of Shaq get into the quarterback in the run game, everything. And I will say, although, Lenny F is obviously the big one, I will show love to both JPP and Gio Bernard, more so JPP as well, because JPP, his energy is always through the dang roof, and he is undefeated in the postseason in his career. So he has some element to him where he gets the guys focused, himself focused in postseason mode. And he's 8-0. Hopefully, it can go 9-0. So I'm looking forward to them all coming back. And then you got Gio coming back. We've seen a couple of his best plays when we were live at the game against Miami. He's just a heads-up football player. His awareness is really high. So it's always a good thing of having a veteran running back like Gio Bernard coming back. Just in case if Lenny F isn't 100% yet, you need to spell him sometime. Rojo's still banged up or butt hurt, one or the other. And then Vaughn is still a young guy, and Bell is still an old guy. Not really an old guy, but, not in the best football shape, perhaps, even though he looks good. He's moving a little slow. So it's always good to have a guy like Gio Bernard around. We do have another question from Twitter pouring in. Do you think the Bucs will tweak their offense with the loss of two main wide receivers and go like three tight ends spread on one out and use Scotty more? Cody, we'll give this one to you. Do you think we'll see more three tight end formations? Do you think we'll see Scotty Miller more like we did at the end of the Panthers Bucs game as he ended up being our leading rusher? This is a good segment into our X's and O's edition of the segment anyways. So what say you? Do you think we'll see three tight ends more? Do you think we'll see different packages in offense more, or Scotty Miller? What do you think?
I hope so. Do I think so? It's hard to say. I think we will see Scotty more than we've seen him. I almost wonder. I think banged up was part of it, but I almost wonder if they haven't held him back like a secret weapon type. He went off in the playoffs last year. I don't know. I really hope Byron has some wrinkles, some wrinkles we haven't seen or seen much of. I don't have high hopes. He hasn't shown me a whole lot of creativity this year, so maybe they've been holding back, maybe not, but I hope so. I do hope so.
Bucko, what say you? You think any creativity is up our sleeve on offense? Do you think O.J. Howard might pop out with some plays? Do you think Scotty Miller gets used more? I agree with Cody. Maybe we were hiding him. I know he's still a little, quote-unquote, banged up with that toe, but he looked pretty dang fast and efficient on the ground in Week 18 against Carolina. Do you think Scotty Miller repeats his playoff magic, or do you think we got any other offensive magic?
He did look pretty damn fast on those two end rounds. Actually, Scotty Miller, we know what he brings. We know he's that one element, right? But the fact that we haven't used him in that regard since he's come back from that injury at all tells me they're either holding back a lot of stuff or maybe Byron really lacks that creativity. I mean, we really hope we see some creativity. We're going to need it. We're going to need to scheme some guys open. Tyler Johnson's not a proficient route runner yet. Rashard Perriman kind of never has been one of those. So we're really going to have to scheme some stuff up like they did on that Perriman play. They fanned everybody out with Gronk and Mike Evans and occupied the safeties and left Perriman one-on-one. We're going to have to do a lot of stuff like that. I'm really hoping, 13 personnel is going to be a large part of what we do. Using the extra tackle wells and fails, things of that nature to free up the running game. But, yeah, we need creativity. We need some different formations, and I think that they've been holding stuff back. You have to with the way we've started off games.
And I know, this is wishful thinking. He hasn't been the same since his injury, but kind of going along the lines of holding Scotty Miller back, I maybe hope that we see a little vintage O.J. Howard wheel route, perhaps. He's had a couple good-looking wheel routes in his days in Tampa where sometimes he was wide open somehow. Maybe we have a nice route set up for O.J. where he gets to the outside, or maybe in the red zone he plays a role. Between Scotty and O.J., I'm really hoping one of them come on pretty strong, because at the end of the day, we brought O.J. back for a reason, and he really hasn't shown us much this year. So whether
And a little tidbit there in reference to the Eagles specifically, they give up the most yards to tight ends than any team in football. So it would make a lot of sense to use multiple tight ends and to target multiple tight ends because their linebackers are, they're like Barrett Rudes. They're chasing tackle guys. They're not playmakers. You know what I mean? So the tight ends are very useful against these Eagles.
right,
Wasn't
and
it his best game this year versus the Eagles? Earlier, he had a touchdown, a couple plays. He had a screen, I think, a big screen that might have been called back. I don't remember, but it seemed like that's the only game I even remember OJ really doing anything this year was versus the Eagles.
his best
Yeah.
game of the year was by far against the Eagles this year.
Yeah, they struggle at covering the tight end. And, if you take out the last 6 minutes of that game where we kind of took our foot off the gas, we really dominated that football game. I think they had, 150 yards of offense in the fourth quarter. So, I don't see us struggling with this team, but we're going to have to, utilize our weapons a little bit more creatively.
Yeah, before we get into some X's and O's talk quick, then score predictions, MVPs, and bounce out. Cats, what say you on, will we see anything different? Will we see uniqueness? And Bucko alluded to Philly having a porous linebacker core for coverage. They're more of run tacklers, Barrett Rude style. Do you think we take advantage of that? Or do you think, it's some middle offense?
Yeah, I think, as I recall in that earlier meeting, the Eagles don't want to give up the big play. That's their MO. So you have to be patient, and we know Tom Brady's willing to do that. And yes, the tight ends should be featured. Now, teams, of course, as Tony Romo was talking about, given who's not available for us anymore, teams are going to do a lot to take Evans, of course, away, and Gronk as well. So it would be nice to see them try to integrate O.J. Howard, and that's not a knock on Cam Brate, although Brate doesn't look quite as what he used to be. He's been very good in the red zone. So I wish I could answer it. I don't know. I mean, we didn't see O.J. Howard or Scotty Miller in that Carolina game, from what I recall, until the game was out of hand. That doesn't mean that they don't have intentions on using either of them, because I think it would behoove them to do so, especially O.J. Howard against this Eagles team in particular. I just don't know if they have any intentions of doing it and they're hiding them, or were they giving them some reps late in that game in preparation. It's hard to think along with them, and I think that's what they want. I don't think they want us to be able to think along with them. So I hope so, though, because if they're going to put double Gronk, I think O.J. Howard's more likely to have success at this point in his career than Cam Brate, assuming that O.J. is healthy. And I don't know. I mean, he's been used so sparingly. I don't know if OJ's 100%. You would think he would be by now, though. So, I hope.
Yeah. So in that game against the Eagles, he had 7 targets. That's more than double against any other game he's had this year. His most other than that was 3. He's had 6 grabs against the Eagles. His other high in a year was against New Orleans with 2 and Miami with 2. And then he had 49 yards, which is by far the most this year. His high before that was 21 against Atlanta. And then he had a touchdown as well, and that's obviously his high as well, because that's, his only touchdown this year. So you look and, there's signs of life from OJ. It is out there. Will we get it?
I gotta say this. Tones, I gotta say, I know he's not popular amongst Bucs fans for several reasons, but you look at the beginning of last season, and it looked like him and Brady had such a good rapport going for those first 4 games, including the game he got hurt. He misses all that time. I know you lose practice time with your quarterback. You're injured, and you come back this year. You get yourself back in there, and all of a sudden you're not part of the offense. I just find it hard to believe that he suddenly has, him and Brady are totally off the same page now, and that he's totally not worthy of getting snaps when we know how talented he is physically. And what he showed, in those, I know only 4 games, but those first 4 games with Brady last season was more productive than the prior year, and Arians' first year here, and he had his moments more so under Dirk in the prior seasons. So I just find it very surprising, unless he's just suddenly, has nothing left, and with 27 years old, 26, and he suddenly, just has a degenerate knee condition or something. I find it hard to believe that he can't be utilized a bit more than they have, especially given what we're lacking in terms of Godwin being out and obviously AB no longer with us.
I told my brother I think OJ Howard would be a tremendous pickup for the Colts on a cheap prove it deal next year because they need some targets. They need a tight end, and he has potential still. I agree with you, Cats. I think that I find it hard to believe that he's lost all football ability. Sure, he's had an up and down career in Tampa. He's had an injury prone career in Tampa, but he's showing flashes of his potential, and it's not like he's been a slouch his whole time. Like you said, when before he got hurt last year, he was looking fantastic. So really unfortunate. We'll see what could happen here. Before we ask a couple questions here, we just got a comment. We will see how good Byron really is. I agree with you guys. I believe we got to get creative. Brady may drive the thinking. Pops, that is true. X's and O's chatter. Bucko, any X's and O's talk to point out here heading into the Eagles game?
It's so elementary facing this team. It's just 100% assignment football, gap discipline football, not getting caught watching the paint dry, so to speak. You can't be tricked by initial motion and things of that nature. They do a lot of misdirection, a lot of counters, a lot of naked boots. You have to be strong in your gap discipline and not get washed down the line. If we can do that, which we've done a lot, except for against the Jets, we've done it very well this entire season. So as long as we keep it, it really has to be just simple, stupid. Simple, stupid on offense. Take what they're going to give you, catch the damn football, and be disciplined on defense. And they're very, very beatable. They cannot just drop back and throw it with precision and beat you like how the Rams or the Packers or somebody would give us a problem. This team is not one we should struggle with.
I agree there. We should beat him. It is the playoffs, so every game is a nail biter. But this is, a team we should beat. And you look at the Eagles, and before the year, they had Nick Sirianni, and he was making some weird comments, and a lot of people doubted him. And they ended up making the playoffs. Pretty good surprise year. Had a winning record, but they only beat one team with a winning record all season, and that was the Saints. And I know the Saints made us look how we look, but that's just a couple games, and we should be fine. Cody, what's your X's and O's insight before we get to score predictions and one big thing and walk out of here?
Well, we kind of touched on earlier with your dad is the creativity. We got to do. I think Ledyard had it. We'd seen it. Me and Buck and I talked about it. We've run mesh a few times. For anybody who doesn't know what mesh is, it's basically just crossers. You're creating picks. The Rams are expert at it. Rams, Saints, really good at it. Misdirection. We did it last game, I believe. Got Mike Evans wide open. And that's the sort of things we're going to have to do. Like when you have AB, Godwin, Mike Evans, they're all healthy, Gronk. Byron just say go out there and be elite and beat your guy. And more times than not, that's what's going to happen. But when you're down to just Mike, who's I'm assuming Mike and Gronk probably get doubled more times than not. Like we're gonna have to help him out. You got to do what you can to help him out. There's the rub routes, little things, and it goes back to what Kat said too. They're already not going to want the big play. That's what they scheme against. So we just got to be patient. But there's ways you can do it. You don't have to take deep shots to get down the field quick. Like create space. There's so many things we can do. I want to see that. And versus Philly, just stack the box. Their wide receivers shouldn't scare us at all, and the quarterback definitely shouldn't scare us at all. The only one on their team that worries me a little bit is the tight end, and then Hurts running. But other than that, it's a bad matchup for them. So as far as this week, I'm not too worried about it. But next week I think we definitely have to get creative. We're going to play some really good defenses, and you can't just expect Mike to go beat double coverage all game or Gronk to go beat double coverage all game. You're going to have to. And Grayson, assuming he comes back, he's Grayson. This is Perryman's third team this year. You can't expect them to go out there and be elite. They're not elite players. So it's going to be interesting to see how we operate going forward. I'm looking forward to it.
And that's why I was alluding to, it's not about the amount of snaps they play or the little plays they make. It's a quality play. Perriman, Scotty Miller, those type of guys obviously aren't the top of the top. Nothing against them. They're good role players, but it's just about the creativity to get them one or two big plays of the game that you could remember them making that true difference. And I remember you were sharing some videos of film from the last game. On a couple of the best Bucs plays, you see Gronk double covered like peanut butter and jelly. So, you expect that every play pretty much at this point. you expect Evans pretty much at this point to get double teamed, and then they're going to try and, force some pepper football. They're going to try and force you to check down or throw to guys who you're unfamiliar with, like the Graysons, the Perrimans, the Tyler Johnsons of the world. So we'll ultimately end up seeing what happened. But I enjoyed that. We're going to get a little more into X's and O's here as we propel through the Buccateers. And we do hope this offseason to do some actual film studies and whatnot. Cody had a good idea and mentioned that. So we hope to bring you guys some things we've seen from the Bucs this year. We're going to go through their regular season and postseason games. And, we might make pods about some good things we see or interesting things we see as far as film breakdown, coverages, and X's and O's in general and whatnot. So good to see there. Before we get into score predictions, Cleveland Me has one. Marcos says Fournette has been big this year in the passing game too. Oh, yeah. I mean, Fournette's been big all around. He's been big all around. You can't sell his value short at all. I mean, he won us the game against Indianapolis. His hands looked like his rookie year hands in Jacksonville when he had almost 80 catches. Lenny F looked like a dominant player before the injury. I expect nothing less than a dominant player coming back. Cats, what say you quick as we got their X's and O's on Lenny F in the passing game?
Yeah, agreed on Lenny F. He caught a lot of passes this year. And he's shown that he can make you miss in the open field when he does. And another thing, in looking back at this Carolina game and the whole season, really, when the Bucs, you cannot run a hurry up offense the whole game. I get it, but when the Bucs have started games like that, it's benefited them more often than not. Other than that second New Orleans game, and just because it doesn't work in a certain game against a very tough opponent doesn't mean you stop doing it. Now they did stop doing it in the ensuing two games, as I recall, and early in the Carolina game, they didn't do it either. However, they then went to it as we progressed in that first half, and sure enough, had some success with it, and they integrated it in the second half as well. So that's how you should start a game. I hope they do that because it's been so good for them. You script those plays, you keep the defense from being able to rotate players in and out. I hope we see some more of that because when they've used it, most of the time they've been very successful with it. Brady loves that. He always did in New England. I talked to a friend of mine who's been a Pats fan forever, and he said they would do that so often they would come out early and use that up-tempo offense. Or he's just kind of, changing the plays at the line, calling the plays in the huddle. You might obviously Leftwich is going to give them plays, choose it in the huddle, but going with the hurry-up offense benefits you so much early in a game, especially.
Yeah, I'd like to see them do that a little more, see how that looks, see if, how that goes. Jumpstart us, get us out to a good lead, and never look back. Hopefully, that could be the recipe to this weekend, especially and throughout the playoffs. That'd be good because, like you pointed out, we have looked really strong at times doing that. I got a text. Can't really see your shirt. What is it? It's an NFL PAT. It's Mike Evans. It's like him in a I don't know. It's like action figure Mike Evans, Santa Claus. Bull crap. I don't know. I did it. It goes to a good cause. So that's the story on the T-shirt. My buddy texted me about it, but it's a Mike Evans NFL PA T-shirt. Score predictions and MVPs, fellas. Bucko, we'll start with you. Who you got? What's the score? MVP of the ball game.
Score Tampa 27, Eagles 16. MVP for me is the entire tight end group. I expect OJ, Gronk, and Brate to make an impact on this game. I'm going to go ahead and say 13 catches between the three of them.
Wow.
And the tight end group is the MVP of this football game.
I like that. I really do like that. And especially like we alluded to, tight ends, we've seen OJ's usage against him. Obviously, we hope he replicates that, and we hope our whole tight end group as a whole has a big game. Cats, score, MVP. You going with the tight ends, or are you looking elsewhere?
I was going to say Gronk. So even if they're going to double team him a bit, I still think he's going to find a way to make an impact. So I'll go with Gronk, and I think Bucs win 30-20.
30-20. Okay, so we got a 10-point game and we got an 11-point game. We got a couple tight end mentions between the group as a whole and Gronk. Cody, you going with the tight end and you going with a 10 or 11-point game, or you thinking this thing shakes out different?
I do have it at 11. I'm thinking like 24-13. Last I heard, it's supposed to be like 20 mile an hour, 30 mile an hour winds, 80%, quarter inch of rain. So I think that's going to slow both teams down. And for that reason, I think Lenny has a huge game. I think he comes close or goes over 100 yards, has, I don't know, 5, 7, 8 catches, something like that.
I like that one a lot because, if it's raining out too, we're going to be looking to check it down more, do a little underneath passing game a little more. So I like where everyone's heads at 10, 11-point games, tight ends, running backs. I'm actually going to go with, Bucks. I'm going to go with 30-22. I'm going to go with the 8-point game. Vegas is a weird way of working scores, and we've seen Washington stick around a little bit last year. I feel like this could be one of those games where we're always in command, we're always in control, we're always winning the game. But Philly's playing pepper football from behind. They're able to score a little bit. They're able to keep it close. So I got an 8-point game. I know spread's 8.5 right now. Vegas knows something, I believe. 30-22. I do like the Bucs this weekend to win by 8. And my MVP of the game is going to be, I think, JPP in his game back with Jalen Hurts, with that run game, with those, they have one of the best tackles in football. How is our run D going to do? Levante might not be back. JPP is going to have to step up. He's going to have to make some plays for us. He's going to have to put his hard hat on, help stop the run, help go 9-0. Help go 9-0 and bring it home. So one big thing in walk-off, fellas, before we get out of here. Cody, we'll start with you this evening, my friend. What's your one big thing? What's your walk-off heading into Sunday's playoff game against the Eagles? 1 o'clock. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are on the call on Fox.
It's still kind of surreal to me. It's been so long. So I'm just looking forward to it. I'm confident in the game. And, man, I've been a fan for, I don't know, since the mid-90s, 96. So the playoff games have been few and far between. So I'm just, my expectations are high. I feel like we can. I want to win another Super Bowl. But, either way, we're in the playoffs. After so many 5-win, 4-win, 6-win seasons, I'm just going to have fun with it. Whatever happens, happens. We got a lot of injuries. But I'd never ever bet against Brady in the playoffs. So, I'm just really looking forward to it.
And I couldn't agree more, brother. After not making it since 07 and then making it back-to-back years, it's like, whew, this is awesome. We got to enjoy it. And we haven't had a home playoff game since 2007 either. So, we really got to take advantage of that and try and use our home field advantage to our advantage. I know the Super Bowl was in Tampa last year, but technically not a home game. So it is cool to have our first home playoff game in 14 or 15 years now. I'm looking forward to that. Katz, thanks for bumbling in, joining us this evening. And what say you? What's your one big thing in walk-off to look out for on Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern?
Yeah, I think obviously it's very important. You control, but especially if weather should not be a factor because it could be, but Brady's played in just about every kind of weather in the playoffs, especially. Jalen Hurts has never played a playoff game before. That's not to knock Jalen Hurts, but both lines of scrimmage, you got to win up front, and I think our offensive line is up for the task. Regardless whether we're throwing the ball, running the ball, I think we can handle them at the point of attack, and that's going to be important to set what we want to do, on that side of the ball. And like I said, regardless of who plays, I see us winning this one fairly comfortably. The Eagles will make a little push, kind of like Washington last year, but I don't think this one will be as close. And fuck the Eagles always and forever. Their fans are cocksucking scumbags. I hate the ones that live here especially. I hope there's not too many there. And I hope that Rondé Barber leads the team out of the tunnel and flips them the bird. And fuck the birds and go Bucs.
Yeah, Philly sports fans, man. I love that rant, Cats. That was awesome. Philly sports fans, whether it's a Flyer fan, an Eagles fan, a Phillies fan, or anything sort of that nature is, more oftentimes, not a great person. But nonetheless, guys, My one big thing or walk off for Sunday is watch how we adapt to the weather. If it is raining, if conditions aren't the best, watch to see the Bucs. They're going to change your game plan. Watch them adapt and watch them succeed. Our O line's going to do fantastic, whether it's pass first or run first come Sunday. So I have the utmost confidence in our O line and our Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And with that being said, it's been another fantastic Buccateers. Stunning never ended up joining us. That's okay. We know he was a busy man tonight. We'll get him in on Tuesday's show, hopefully. Again, program alert. Tuesday night, live on the Buccateers, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. J.C. Allen, our right-hand man from the Pewter Report, great friend of the show's fantasy football foe this year. He's going to be joining us to talk Bucs football, hopefully celebrating the win against the Eagles and, not wrapping up our season. But nonetheless, guys, program and note as well, throughout the remainder of the playoffs, every Tuesday and Thursday, you'll be able to catch the Buccateers. Tuesday, we'll be recapping the game before, and Thursday we'll be looking ahead. And if it's after the Super Bowl, which it will be, or if it's, if we do lose early, the Thursday one will just be a season recap show. So we're hoping it's a dang Super Bowl. But Tuesday and Thursday, you'll be able to catch the Buccateers, the duration of the playoffs. And Tuesday, J.C. Allen, Pewter Report, can't beat it right here. Buccateers, 8 Central, 9 Eastern on behalf of Cody, Cats, Bucko, Tampa Tones, and Mr. Stunna. It's been the Buccateers. We're looking forward to being back with you next week, hopefully celebrating a playoff win against Philly. As always, go Bucs. Ain't that right, Cody?
Go Bucs.
Fire the damn cannons, everybody. Until next time.